Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at creating this product slider you see on the screen, and we also implement this progress bar you can see. We also add a grabbing functionality, so when the user clicks down and moves their mouse, it works like that. You can see when we click the mouse, we get the grabbing hand and grab hand. Also, this slider also responds to the mouse wheel, so obviously if you're using a mouse and not a trackpad, use a mouse wheel on this and you can scroll still like that to make it easier, or just give the user a better experience really. This also works great on mobile devices, so if I just refresh this, you can see when the user touches and swipes, they still get the same functionality on a mobile as well. Okay guys, so this is just off the last video I made on slider. I've just made it more device friendly and user friendly as well. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and let's get going. Thanks. Okay guys, so to get started, you can see I've got the three files here. So I've got just an index.html file, one app.js file, and a style.css. So if we come into our index.html file first, we'll emit to get the boilerplate up and running. I'm just going to change the title to slider, and then we're going to link to our style.css in the header. So say style.css like so. And then in the body, we'll just link to our app.js. So we'll just say script source, and then we'll just say app.js. Okay, so now let's just open this in live server. And I'll bring this over to my other screen here. Okay, so now let's just get the skeleton for our actual slider. Okay, so in the body here, we're just going to say we want a div of a class of slider wrap. -wrap like so. That's just going to house all of our inner slider and the items and the progress bar. We're next going to have a div inside here with a class of slider like so, and then in here we have another div with a class of slider -inner. Okay, and then we're going to have 10 items here, so I'll just say a div of a class of item, and I'll just say here we'll say h3. And I'm just going to put text in these items for now, just to save time. You could put images like they could be product cards, anything you want really. Okay, so I'll just copy this down 9 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll just change these as well. Eight, 9, and finally 10. Okay, so there you can see we have our 10 items there. And then what I want to do as well is we want to be in line with just this slider section here. Okay, so we'll come underneath this div here, and we'll just say we'll create another div of a class of progress bar. So I'll just say .progress bar like so, and then we'll just do another inner div of a class of .prog bar inner. Okay, and that should be prog, not pro. And that's it for our HTML. So next thing we'll do, let's just give this a bit of styling next. So we'll come to our style.css. Just open this up, style.css. And the first thing I'm going to do is just get rid of all, just set up the default settings. Okay, so just say margin 0, padding 0, and box size in a border box like so. That just removes all the default margins and paddings, as you can see there. I'm also just going to get the Poppins font, just because I really hate that default font. Okay, so we'll just go Poppins. I'll use the really thin version. And we'll just copy this link tag and we'll paste this into our header of our HTML like so. Okay, and then I'll just align that a bit. I should get prettier installed really. And then let's just copy the CSS selector here as well. So this font family, and we'll just paste that there like so. Okay, so now you can see now that font's applied to all of our text. Kind of underneath this, I'm next just going to select all H3 elements. And we'll just give these a colour of black. I think it is black anyway, but we'll just set it like so. Okay, and then underneath this, next thing we're going to do is we're just going to say, we're getting an error there. Okay, that's better. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select our slider wrap next. This is the wrap that wraps everything, including the progress bar. And here I'm just going to set the position to be absolute, so we can position it direct wherever we want on the screen. And then I'll just say top, say 10%. Position this wherever you want. This is just for tutorial purposes, really. I'll say left of 5%. And I'm going to give this a width of 90%. And we'll give it a height of 300 pixels, like so. And then I'm also just going to give this a border, so we'll say border. I'll just say 1 pixel solid black for now. And there you can see that's our slider width, so 95% of the screen. We've got that 5% padding on each side, or margin rather. And then underneath this, I'm just going to set the cursor to be grab when we hover over this slider wrap. As you can see now we get the hand grab appear, which signals that the user can click and drag. Okay, so now underneath this, I'm just going to select our slider. Okay, so this is remember in our HTML we had the slider wrap, and then we have the kind of slider, which is going to house the main slider, inner, and the items. Okay, so the CSS for this is just going to be, we'll set the position into absolute again, set the top to 0, the left to 0, and we'll also just set the height of 100% and set the width to be 100% as well. Okay, and next we're just going to set the overflow here to be scroll. Okay, so the slider inner div we're going to set to be much wider than the parent, so we need to be able to scroll across, and that's why we're setting our overflow to scroll here. Okay, and then kind of underneath this we'll select our slider inner, so I'll say slider hyphen inner, and then remove that P. For this we're just going to say position absolute again. I'm going to set the display here to flex. Okay, and what this will do, you'll notice now all of our items move next to each other. And then I'm going to say justify content space around. Okay, and this will just give some nice kind of distance between each item. So say space around, give nice gaps between each item. And then I'm just going to set the absolute position here, so say top 0 again and left 0. Again, we'll say a height of 100%. I need the width this time, we're going to make it much larger, so we'll just say a width. And now I'm just going to use around 3000 pixels, like so. Now you can see our items are nicely spaced out. You can see, you can't see the overflow because we set the overflow to scroll here, so that means we can't see what's going on. The slider inner, we can't see it over the parent. Okay, so next thing we want to do here is I'm going to next select our items, so we'll say dot item, and here I'm just going to say position relative. Okay, and then we're just going to say again display flex, and the reason we're displaying flex is because we want to center the text here. So here I'm just going to say align items to the center. That will center the items vertically, and then we'll just say justify content as well, center, and that will center our items horizontally. Okay, and then I'm going to give these items a width of 250 pixels, like so, and then I'm going to say a height of 98%. And then the reason we set position relative is because I just want to adjust the top positioning to be 1%. Okay, so 1% like so. That gives us a 1% kind of margin at the top and the bottom. And then we'll just set a border color here. So say border 1 pixel solid. And we'll just say black. Okay, so there's our product cards there. And I'll just give these a nice little background color of we'll just go for like a grey colour, so let's just get that, come up around here, use whatever colour you want. Okay, so there's our kind of items there. So next one I want to do is we want to just do the CSS for our progress bar, so say progress bar here. Okay, and then I'm just going to say again position absolute here, and then we'll say bottom. I'm just going to say minus 20 pixels, and this will make it appear underneath our actual slider here. say minus 20 pixels, and then I'm just going to say left 0, and then we're just going to give this a width of 100%, like so, and then I'll say a height of around 5 pixels, and then we'll just give this a border of 1 pixel solid, and we'll just say black again. Okay, and there you go, there's our progress bar. I'm also just going to say, we'll give it a border radius as well, just to make the edges a bit more circular and rounded. So just say border radius, I'll just say 10 pixels. You can see they're kind of curved now. Okay, so that's where our progress bar is going to go. Next one I want to do here is we want to set our progress bar inner. Okay, so I say dot prog bar inner, and here, that shouldn't be capitals. Okay, and then we're just going to say position absolute, and then again top 0, left 0. We'll just set the width to be 50% for now, just so we can see what it will look like. And then I'm going to say a height of 100% as well, just to fill it vertically. And then we'll just set the background color here to be just do it like a dark grey as well. So if I just go a bit darker actually, somewhere around there. So that's what our progress bar will look like when we fill it up. Okay, so 10%. For the finish, we'll say we'll just leave it at 0%. Okay, and then we'll just adjust it as the user scrolls the slider. Okay, next one I'll do here as well is I'm just going to say, we'll come up to our slider. Underneath this slider, I'm just going to say dot slider, and then you can see at the moment we get this scroll bar occurring. We don't want that. Okay, so let's hide that. I'm just going to say here slider, and we'll just say WebKit, and then scroll bar like so. And here I'm just going to say display none. Okay, so this works for Chrome, Safari, and Opera, a browser which I've never used before, to be honest. Okay, what's going on there with my comments? Okay, so that we should not see that now. So you can see that scroll bar disappeared. In order to do this for Internet Explorer, Edge, and Firefox, we need another setting here. So what I've done is we'll just paste these in. So this MS overflow style none, and this scroll bar width none. Okay, so that's for Firefox. We can just put that in our slider up here. Okay, and then we can just delete this section here. Okay, so that's it. That should remove our slider going forward. And that's it for our CSS. Now let's jump into our JavaScript. We're nearly done. There's not much JavaScript to implement this. The first thing we want to do is just actually grab our slider element. So we'll just say const slider equals document dot query selector, and then I will just say dot slider hyphen inner like so. Okay, and then if we just console.log that, just to make sure it's come up. Just go to our console here. Okay, yeah, we can see we've got our slider there. That's great. So now let's also, underneath this, I'm just going to say const progress bar. That's going to equal document dot query selector, and we'll just say here dot prog bar, and then I'll just say inner like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to set an initial variable here called let slider grabbed equal false. Okay, boolean. And what this is going to do, this is going to let the program know when the user has clicked down on the slider to drag it. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using this for, this variable. So let's add some event listeners now. So I'm just going to say, actually the first one I'll do is just create a function. Okay, and this is going to be called get scroll percentage like so. Okay, and then so the actual the maths to get this, the percentage of how far the user has scrolled horizontally within this slider, what we have to do is I've got two parentheses here, and in this second set of parentheses I'm just going to say slider, and then with this slider we want to get the parent element. Okay, So the parent element will be the, you remember, we have the slider inner. The parent element is this actual slider, okay, which is just, it fills 100% of this wrap here. Okay, so that's what we're getting. So we want to get that parent element, and then we want to get the scroll left, how far the user scrolled left on this element. Scroll left. And then we're just going to say, want to divide this by another set of parentheses here. We'll make this a bit bigger so we can see. And we just say slider. We want to divide that by slider.parent element dot scroll width. Scroll width like so, minus slider, and then we're just going to say dot parent element again, dot client width, like so, okay? And then we'll come out of these two parentheses here and we just times this by 100. Okay, so that's how you get the percentage. Let's just show you that in action now. I'm just going to create an event listener here. So we'll just say, we'll say slider dot add event listener, and we'll listen up for the scroll event. Okay, and then we'll do pass in the event here. And what we want to do here is I'm just going to say we're going to get our progress bar, okay, and then we're going to get the style, and then we'll say, how does it do that? Style dot width, okay, and then we're just going to say equals. We'll do some backticks here, and do the template literal, and we're just going to use that function, that get scroll percentage function, okay, and then add the percentage after. Okay, and then we can also just console log that as well, just so you can see it. So we'll say console.log get scroll percentage, like so. So now, if we go back, if we open up our terminal as well, let's just come out of the this mode here, go to our console, and now, okay, so why is that not working? That for the scroll event. Okay. Get scroll percentage. Okay. We should be getting, I'm not sure why. It should be slider.parent element. Sorry, guys. That should be a capital E. Okay, now you can see now we get the percentage scrolled. Okay, and you can see our bars now working. That's filling up and the width is adjusting. Okay, and you can see, so when we scroll to the very left, we're at 0% at the bottom here, and then when we scroll to the right, you can see at the end we reach 100%. Okay, so that's the formula we use to get that scroll. Now I just want to implement the grabbing functionality. Okay, so to do that, I mean, this is when we're on a desktop really. This will work great on a mobile, just to show you, if we refresh this, the user can just drag and that works fine. Okay, so that's all good. So that's all good for mobile. Now let's just, we want to just implement dragging on this so the user can drag, okay. At the moment I'm scrolling with a trackpad, so obviously if a user has a mouse they can't do that. So I'm also going to implement this so when the user is hovering over this slider and they use the mouse wheel, we can drag up and down and it will move the slider as well. Okay, so implement dragging and the mouse wheel. So let's just do that now. So underneath here, I'm just going to say slider again, and we're just going to set the we want to say .add event listener. So we're not using the parent this time. We'll say add event listener, and here we want to listen up for a mouse down event. Okay, mouse down. Again, pass the event in, do an arrow callback function, and here we're just going to set that slider grabbed variable to be true. Okay, remember that variable we set at the top up here, that we can set that to true. And then we're going to set the slider dot style, okay, and then we're going to say dot cursor, and that's going to equal grabbing. Okay, so what that will do, you'll see now when we put the mouse down, it goes into that grabbing hand. Okay, So then we just want to add another touch event for the or a mouse event to the mouse up. So we'll say change that to mouse up. I've just copied this down, and then we'll just set the slider grab variable back to false when we do the mouse up. Okay, and then we'll just set the cursor back to grab. So now you can see it goes back up to the grab in and grab. Okay. And then we also just want to add one more for when the mouse leaves. So we'll just say mouse leave, like so. And again, I'm just going to set the slider grabbed to be false again when we leave the area. And also we'll just set the same thing really, the cursor to grab. Okay, and that just accounts when we leave the area. Okay, so we want the mouse to reset. Okay, so now what else do you want to do here? So now we want to listen out for a mouse move. Okay, so I'm just going to say slider dot add event listener, and we listen out for the mouse move event. And again, we pass in the event, and here what we want to look out for is if we're moving obviously over it, we want to make sure that the user's clicked down. We don't want the slide to move if the user's not clicked down. So in order to do that, we're just going to use that variable. We'll say if slider grabbed, like so, then we'll perform the action. So then we can say slider, and then we want to get the parent element. Okay, and then we're going to say dot scroll left, and that's going to minus equals E, and we have a setting here or an integer called movement X, and that's just how far we're moving by pixels when we move a mouse. So now, what is happening there? So am I getting any errors? No. Okay, it's a slider. So we're saying if the slider grabbed, slider, parent element, I'll actually scroll left, like so. So now you can see we can now click and drag, okay, on a desktop. And our scroll bar is working with that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. One final thing I want to do, remember I said when we scroll down, if we have a mouse wheel, it's not all we can do on a computer is just click and drag, but you know, we could also implement like a mouse wheel functionality for this as well. So to do that, we'll just come underneath here. I'm just going to say, again, slider dot add event listener. And listen up for the wheel event, okay, wheel like so, and here we'll pass in the event, and I'm just going to say here, the first one I'll do is actually e.prevent default, okay, and that will stop the actual window from scrolling down. Now I'm using the mouse wheel, and it's now you'll see when I'm up here, you can see we get that jump, and when I'm over the top of the slider, we don't get that because we prevented the default action for the wheel. And then all we want to do here is just going to say slider dot parent element, and then we're just going to say dot scroll left, and we're just going to say here plus equals e dot delta y. Okay, and that's the amount of pixels we're scrolling on the y-axis. Okay, so now you can see I'm using the mouse wheel, and we can scroll properly on a mouse wheel. Okay, and we're getting that nice, cool progress bar as well for all of our 10 items. Okay, so there you have it, guys. That's just like, you know, how you implement this kind of you know, a product slider or, you know, any kind of image slider for your website, and it works great on desktop and mobile devices. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.